Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it? You get indicted and your poll numbers go up. When people get indicted, your poll numbers go down.
Wait, what was that about interfering in a presidential election?
Whoever heard you get indicted for interfering with a presidential election where you have every right to do it?
So can I interfere in a presidential election? What about the nonsense Republican talking point that undocumented immigrants are defrauding our elections with the help of Democrats? Is that interfering in a presidential election? And do they have every right to do it? You know, Trump's sit-down interview with his personal ass kisser left a lot of questions unanswered, like, why does God favor you over everyone else?
You've been a man of faith. You go to church. You believe in God. Has this further your belief, your commitment, and obviously God, in addition to that chart, saved your life. He has a purpose for you. Do you think about these things? Well, I think you believe more because when you speak to experts, like my sons who are shooting experts, but when you speak to experts, they said there was no chance that he could have missed from that distance. I think he was hurried. I think he was rushed because people were starting to say, like, you know, there's a guy up there with a gun.
You know, for some guys that love guns so much, you'd think that they may have heard of the odd phenomenon of someone missing the person that they're shooting at. But when it comes to trying to make Donald Trump God's chosen one, Jesus had to intervene, shove the gun just millimeters to the side so that Trump could barely be saved. You know, because Jesus likes to do things dramatically.
But no, I think you think, like, if you believed in God, you believe in God more. And somebody said, like, why? And I'd like to think that God thinks that I'm going to straighten out our country. Our country is so sick and it's so broken. Our country is just broken. And maybe that was the reason. I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe God saved me so that I can come straighten out this sick country. The country that's apparently mentioned throughout the Bible as God's favorite. The one that wasn't too sick during hundreds of years of forced slavery, followed by over another 100 years of targeted laws specifically meant to suppress the descendants of those enslaved people so that those in power could continue to benefit from their ancestors' viciousness. It's you sick people that want equal housing, healthcare, education, employment, all that and more. That's what God wants Donald Trump to save us from. He just has to get past a real meanie first.
Now they have Kamala, who they say has many deficiencies, but she's a nasty person. I think there's no human being that was ever treated worse in Congress than Justice Kavanaugh. And Harris led the battle. That's right. Oh, she was vicious. Oh, she was the most vicious. She was going after them, but the way she treated Justice Kavanaugh during that hearing, in the history of Congress, nobody's been treated that way.
No one has ever been treated that badly in the history of Congress. Since Trump is having trouble nailing hairs and walls down on anything, he somehow thinks that rehashing the vice president's line of questioning that exposed the hypocrisy of Justice Kavanaugh's positions on abortion rights before he ruled against Roe versus Wade is somehow harmful to her.
Can you think of any laws that give government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm happy to answer a more specific question. But
Male versus female.
there are medical procedures.
Okay. That the government has the power to make a decision about a man's body?
I thought you were asking about medical procedures
No,
that are unique to men.
I'll repeat the question. Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
Despite his brain fog, he definitely thought of some laws that he believed were great in controlling women's bodies. And Donald Trump made sure to congratulate him and his fellow justices that ruled against reproductive autonomy later. That's what was so nasty, according to the former president. But he wasn't done with the clueless declarations, though.
You know, Kamala Harris, remember all the stories about how she berates her staff and uses the F word, and she's lost 92% of her staff as vice president? We don't hear those stories anymore.
No, they don't. They don't want to hear him. They don't want to hear him. The way she treated Mike Pence was horrible. The way she treats people is horrible.
Not only did Donald Trump treat his former VP horribly when he refused to overturn democracy in his favor, he condoned his MAGA mob's quest to murder him at the Capitol.
Were you worried about him during that siege? Were you worried about his safety?
No, I thought he was well protected, and I had heard that he was in good shape. No, because I had heard he was in very good shape. But no,
You
I
heard
think
those chants. That was terrible. I mean, those,
he could have. Well, the people were very angry.
they were saying hang Mike
Because
Pence.
it's common sense, John. It's common sense that you're supposed to protect. How can you, if you know a vote is fraudulent, right?
Yeah.
How can you pass on a fraudulent vote to Congress?
Donald Trump wants Americans to believe that VP Harris treated Mike Pence so horribly after literally everyone knows that his petulant mob of violent losers vowed to kill him for refusing to negate tens of millions of Americans' votes. The same Mike Pence that's oddly not his running mate again has said he won't endorse him and wasn't at the RNC along with every other recent Republican leader like Mitt Romney and George W. Bush. Seems like the only friends he has left are the dictatorial foreign leaders.
We were having a problem. You had Adam Shifty Schiff and all these bad people, including Hillary and others, coming up with this Russia hoax. And I told Putin, I said, you know, it's a shame because we could have done a lot of business, the countries together, but with this whole fake thing that's going on, and he understood that. I said, it's a fake deal. He actually said to me, he said, it's tough to make a deal now. I said, you're right, it's tough. They created a fake narrative, this Russia hoax. It was a hoax. And we could have had a much different relationship with Russia.
Does he really think the majority of Americans are convinced that we'd be much better off if we did business with Vladimir Putin? Does he think that Americans actually believe that whatever personal deals he struck with Putin benefited the country after he fearfully showed the world that he serves Putin's interests over America's?
Would you now, with the whole world watching, tell President Putin, would you denounce what happened in 2016, and would you warn him to never do it again?
My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this, I don't see any reason why it would be. So I have great confidence in my intelligence people, but I will tell you that President Putin was extremely strong and powerful in his denial today.
He was completely strong and powerful, which obviously eliminates all the intelligence that Trump was given that said the opposite. Don't get it confused, though. The real people that Trump is wary of aren't murderous dictators. Those are his people. The people he's afraid of apparently work for ABC.
Look, ABC is probably the worst in terms of fairness. George Flopadopoulos, the people they have there are just terrible. Jonathan Karl. But that's the only one she'll go to. Now, the other one is the head of ABC is her best friend and her husband's best friend, too. And I had to make a decision. Do I want to debate? I'd like to debate. I mean, I guess I won a lot of debates because otherwise I wouldn't have been president. I had a lot of debates initially, and then I had quite a few. And the last one with Joe Biden, I think I did a very good job. And maybe I did too good a job. But that was a debate, and it was their idea. They wanted to do it. I said, you know, it's early, but I'll do it if you want. What do you want to do? And they gave me CNN. They gave me Jake Tapper, and they gave me Dana Bash, who traditionally you would never do it. You'd never do it with them because they're Trump haters at the highest level, and CNN is a Trump hater.